Yo, welcome back everyone. Sorry this video is coming out a little late, but the NBA season is finally here. I have my predictions for the Eastern Conference in this video. I'll have a separate video for the Western Conference predictions, so let's jump right into it. Finally, the NBA doldrums are ended. The NBA season is here. As you may know, last night the Clippers defeated the Lakers in a pretty competitive game. The NBA is finally back. I'm glad to say it. It's very competitive. A lot of defense being played. Feels like it was a playoff atmosphere in the Staples Center last night. The Raptors game went into overtime with the Pelicans. That was a very good game as well. So I'm going to be going over my take on who's going to be at the top of the East at the end of the regular season. So at number one, this is like a 1A, 1B type of situation, but I'm going to have to go with my Philadelphia 76ers. The reason why I have the Sixers at the top spot in the East is because I think they have the most all-around talent on their roster from their bench and their starting lineup. Milwaukee lacks a little bit of depth for later in the playoffs. I don't think their starting lineup is as good as Philly's. I think Chris Middleton's a little overrated. I don't think he's going to be like a big playoff type of guy. Eric Bledsoe's solid. Brook Lopez is obviously solid. And I just think Philly is just better 1 through 5. Like Ben at the point, Eric Bledsoe isn't better, and no one's better than Embiid at center. No one's better than Horford. The only thing they might have at edges is Chris Middleton over Josh Richardson, which is debatable at this point. Josh Richardson is developing into a very nice player, and Giannis is obviously better than Tobias, but Giannis can't do everything by himself. That's been shown all throughout NBA history. You see that LeBron, he can't do it all by himself. And with the Sixers too, teams are going to have a struggle trying to scoring them in the post and in the paint. There's such a big lineup. But the thing is, they can switch any player in a pick and roll type of situation because they're all with at least like 6'5", 6'6" in the starting lineup, which is a big plus for them. Also, they have a very solid bench. They drafted Matisse Thybulle out of Washington, who's a defensive specialist who is very underrated going into the season. He's going to have a big impact off the bench. Zaire Smith coming off the bench as well. His rookie season, he was hurt all last year. He's a very athletic combo guard. He can slash and has the ability to shoot the ball. You have James Ennis still. You have Mike Scott, who's a dog off the bench who can score, scrap for rebounds, and loose balls. And you also have Trey Burke, who's a very underrated scorer off the bench as well. What prevents Philly from getting the first seed is going to be their shooting. If they're not going to have the ability to shoot the ball consistently from 3, that's what it's really going to hurt them. But I think they'll be fine with the lineup they have. So as you obviously know, I had the Milwaukee Bucks at number 2. So as you obviously know, what also is going to make or break for them to get in the 1 or 2 seed is their shooting. If they can't shoot consistently, it's going to hurt them in the long run, and especially the playoffs. But also a plus, if Philly isn't shooting very well, they could also steal the 1 seed from them, and it's going to be a more balanced series in the playoffs as well. They have the MVP in Giannis. He's only going to get better. He's only 24 years old, and he's only going to help elevate this roster. Eric Bledsoe, very solid. Brook Lopez is very good center. Chris Middleton, I think, is a little overrated, but he's getting better. But also we're gonna see is Giannis probably taking more threes. You can only imagine Giannis is gonna improve from 3. He shot like I think in the 30s or like 20s or something like that. But at least he showed the ability to shoot the ball, and you have to respect that, which I think we're gonna see with Ben Simmons as well. Also playing Eastern Conference teams most of the year. The Eastern Conference is weaker than last year, so they're not going to have to struggle or get in the battles as they would be in the West. They're going to have some easy wins. They're not going to have to worry. And yeah, this is why they get the 2 seed. So this is where the talent kind of drops off. I have Boston at 3. As you can tell, Boston isn't as talented as the Sixers and Bucks, but they still have a young and promising roster. They got rid of Kyrie. They have Kemba now, who's a little less better than Kyrie, but Kemba is a bucket. He's going to get you buckets. He's a great scorer. You're hoping Tatum still developing. He got better this offseason. Losing Horford's going to hurt, but you got to do what you got to do. Also having Carson Edwards off the bench, he's a potential 6th man of the year. He's a very good scorer, and he's a catalyst off the bench. He provides a lot of energy, as we saw in the preseason, so that's exciting to see. You really don't know where you're getting with Gordon Hayward, but hey, maybe he's back to normal. He's scoring like 20 a game, and he's like winning games for you down the stretch, but who knows. Losing Terry Rozier is also going to hurt, not having him coming off the bench. He's in Charlotte now, but yeah, with Boston, you're going to assume they're going to get a 3 seed. The East is very weak, and they're going to get it just because they're in the Eastern Conference, and they're going to get some tough wins down the stretch in the season. So with this 4th spot, it gets a little tricky. As you go down the list, it gets a little tricky. But at the 4th spot, I'm going to have to give it to the Miami Heat. So as you all know, Jimmy Butler went to this team. You were thinking, oh, Jimmy Butler just went to an average team. But the 4th spot in the East is really a low bar. I think them trading away Hassan Whiteside was a plus. He was kind of a cancer. He wasn't producing as much as they wanted to, and he was not showing up in the playoffs as well, which is when it really matters. The regular season doesn't really matter. It's the postseason that counts. And now we saw that Dion Waiters got suspended for the first game, and Dragic coming off the bench. It gives a big opportunity for Tyler Herro starting now. We saw him playing alongside Jimmy in the preseason, getting some reps with him, and he looked pretty solid. He could potentially be a Rookie of the Year candidate on this team. It's going to be nice to see Herro playing alongside Jimmy, getting some shots. And also, you know Jimmy, he did it for the Sixers last year. He's going to win you games down the stretch. Jimmy's a top 15 player in the league, and he's one of the most clutch players as well. And I think this roster too, it's not that good, but they got Adebayo at the center. They got Waiters probably coming off the bench, Dragic, Justice Winslow at the 3. He's a very good defensive guy. And you got James Johnson at the 4. So this is a pretty solid lineup. I think they just get it because Jimmy is going to win them so many games down the stretch and just take over games. So that's what gives them the 4th spot. It's not that hard to get this year in a weak Eastern Conference. Then at this 5 spot, I'm not going to give them any disrespect here, but I'm going to have the Toronto Raptors. As you know, they lost Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green, so I'm not expecting any title push this year, but they're still a solid team, They locked up Pascal Siakam to a big contract, as you may know, and he looked really well last night. He had 34 points, he fouled out in the end, but they won the game. And with Siakam, as we know, as Michael Jordan said, the ceiling is the roof. He's going to keep developing into a very nice player, and he did very well in the playoffs and especially the finals last year. He showed up in a big stage, so he showed he can play in big moments, which is really cool. And you still have Lowry, you still have Drake 2.0 and Fred VanVleet. He had 34 last night against the Pels. You still have, this team still has remnants of a championship team. They're still going to be good defensively. I'm just really excited to see how Pascal Siakam performs in an improved role. They're not in a tough conference. It's not going to be really hard. So I can't be very edgy with this one. So Raptors at 5. So behind the Raptors, I'm going to have a Kevin Durant-less Nets. We don't know what Kyrie we're going to get. Are we going to get Afro Kyrie, Untucked Kyrie? So, they're still a solid team, but I'm not expecting much from them. It's pretty much the same roster as last year. They do have DeAndre Jordan, which I guess is a plus, but he's not a huge piece, that's going to put them over the top. It's Kevin Durant. It's really what puts them over the top as a team. You can put them at the 5 spot. This is my list, though. I'm making it hard to pick, I'm not just going to put them there because they have Kyrie and they have Kevin Durant coming back like next year. No, I'm putting them at 6 because it's the same roster as last year. They just added Kyrie, and we don't know what we're going to get from them. We're also in the stage where Kyrie wants to be the man of the team. He wants to be the leader of the team, and he has less talent than last year. It's not all about talent, it's about how they mold together. But we got to see how he can be a leader and take over a team. Don't get me wrong, they have some talent here. They have Joe Harris, they have Dinwiddie, they have Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan, as we all know. But this team's more of a project. If they don't do well defensively, they're going to land themselves at the 6th spot. So with these last 2 spots, they can get kind of tricky. But at 7, I'm going to have the Pacers. They pretty much had the same team as last year. And good news, Victor Oladipo is coming back anytime soon, so that's cool. A key piece they added was Malcolm Brogdon. He's going to help out a lot. He was a key piece to the Bucks offense last year. They retained Sabonis. They have Miles Turner. It's a nice, solid young team. Oladipo is a key to their success, but he's coming back soon, so this is why I give them my 7th spot. So for the 8th and final spot, you can either put Detroit or the Magic, but I'll have to go with the Magic. See, with the Pistons, the thing is, Blake Griffin is a key piece to their team. He's always injured. He's already missing like the 5 first games. And by the deadline, they say if they're not doing well, they're going to trade him anyways. And that doesn't do well for chemistry. It just doesn't look good for a team. I'm going with the Magic because they have a better core. And they're looking to make the playoffs for the 2nd straight year for the first time, I think, since like Dwight Howard. But yeah, I really like how Aaron Gordon's developing. Vucevic is an all-star. Terrence Ross is good. I'm not even going to bring up Markelle Fultz because I heard he's fighting just for a spot on the 10-man rotation. Like, it's pretty bad. He's a bust. But yeah, they're a solid young team. I think they're going to sneak in there. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Pistons make it, but I think Orlando makes it. They're a little more talented than the Pistons. And again, the East isn't very good. It's very lackluster and it's very, very weak. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. That was my rankings for the Eastern Conference this year. As you all know, it could be completely different. I could be completely wrong. But for the most part, it's the Eastern Conference. It's probably what it's going to be. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And let me know what you agree with and what you disagree with. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one.